morning, everybody. Welcome to the Dominate Ductless podcast, where I tell the stories of entrepreneurs who are building their business that are focused on ductless heat pumps. I'm Mike Cappuccio, the owner of Dominate Ductless, and I'm excited today to have a longtime friend and business owner, Victor Waskiewicz. Did I say that right? And the name of Victor's business is JV Mechanical Contractors, and Victor is located in Webster, Massachusetts. So, Victor, let's get into it this morning. And can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your company and your day-to-day roles and what you do there?
Morning, Mike. Yeah,
morning.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Enjoy it.
So I started with my father in 1987. My father, Joe, that's how we get the name, JV, Joe and Vic. And my dad was a lifelong plumber. He's 81 now. So through the 60s and 70s, he was a plumber, a union plumber out in Boston, working on a lot of the high risers you see when you fly into Logan Airport along the Revere.
Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of those he ran crews, plumbing, and he got into the HVAC world in the late 70s, 80s, refrigeration and so on. So as a kid, I was always turning wrenches with him. He'd bring me in the truck. I'd put a boiler in with him. He'd bring me to all these little jobs he was doing. And so, it seemed like that was somewhat of my destiny. I just was not going to college. I knew that later in high school. It just was not my thing. So when I graduated high school in 87, I jumped in a van with my dad and we started a local business. He moved from the commercial union side and we just started a local business here in Webster. And, he signed me up as an apprentice. So I started in the plumbing side of the business.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. All right.
Yeah. He helped push me to get licensed. Got my master license probably when I was 22, my master plumber's license, then in Connecticut. Got licensed in Connecticut because we're right on the border.
Wow.
And then we just started doing sales calls here in town, working. My thing was more on the plumbing and hydronic heating side, boilers, steam, hydronics, radiant floor heating. That's how I cut my teeth. That's how I got into the industry. And then we did everything from steam boilers, radiant floor heating, rooftop units. We got into that. We got into the HVAC side, just swapping out rooftop units, process piping. And my father wasn't afraid to do anything. He said, hey, listen, the pipe, it's copper pipe, whether it's 4-inch or 1/2 inch. He said it all gets hung. It all gets
put together, right?
Exactly. So don't be afraid of it. So I give my dad credit for, teaching me not to be afraid to go after it and try different things that, and if you don't have the answers and if you don't know, learn, find out, talk to people that know how to do certain things and just,
What are your day-to-day roles now? What do you do now? Because it seems like the company's changed a little bit. Has it changed over time?
It did. For the ductless side of the industry, I put my first ductless in 1991, believe it or not.
Wow, right around the same time I did.
Yeah, all right. So, they weren't as pretty, right? They were pretty hideous looking.
No.
That was my introduction to that world. It wasn't taking off, as you know, there were struggles back then.
A lot of struggles.
So still doing plumbing and conventional air conditioning, unitary stuff. We just stuck with that because that's how we could pay bills and didn't push it back then like you did, the ductless world.
How did you get into the air conditioning side from the plumbing side? Because you were heavy plumbing.
I was. I think at one point what we did, my dad had it under his belt. He knew HVAC, right? So
okay.
We would.
So he knew both. He knew both
and refrigeration, like coolers. I remember putting walk-in coolers together, putting them together with him.
I did that too.
Okay, so
I did that too.
Yeah. So I got a taste of everything, and then later, I was in the field doing my thing as a service tech. That's what I did for 20 some odd years, probably into the early 2000s. Then I started my role in the business, kind of evolved into going out and doing estimates on plumbing, heating, AC. I had to learn the AC side of the business as far as the estimating part, right? The other stuff was easy for me because I knew how to do it. So then we hired some AC techs. I actually learned some from them on the technical side. And then it grew into, mini splits. Went through a few different product lines in the probably 2005, 2007, and then landed where I am now with Mitsubishi. And then that's when we started taking off with the ductless.
That's very interesting. So I want to ask you this question. When did we first meet, or when did you first hear of myself? And I'm gonna make you think this morning.
Yeah. Mike, I remember meeting you. It was in Hartford or somewhere near Hartford, Connecticut. You were doing a one-day class in a hotel.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. It was a kind of a dungy motel right off. I remember pulling up there and looking at that place and going, "Oh, we're having a meeting here." Do you remember this?
I thought the same.
It's coming back to me now. Okay, it's coming back to me.
Yep. And I met you there, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, boy, this is an interesting place for this, but let's go with it. It was co-sponsored by our distributor, I believe.
Who's the distributor down there? Who was that distributor?
It might have been Holman. It was probably Holman's.
Okay.
I believe it was Holman's. It was a while ago. I mean, it's got to be 10 to.
I think it was at the time. I think I remember this now.
Yeah, and at the end of the class, I'll always remember this because I learned about you by the end of the class. What you're about, your history, and you taught us some really very interesting things about processes and how you do things. And you were growing it. It seemed like you were in a real good growth.
I was in a growth spurt at that time. That was probably about at least 12. Oh God, let me think. Because I've been out of it now 4 years, so at least 15 years, maybe 10 to 10, 12 anyway. Good 12.
Yes, I would agree with that.
That was when I first started doing consulting and training for Mitsubishi at the time.
It seemed like it was new. And I don't mean that in a way where it looked like you were new at it. You were sharing the wealth of information as you do now in your more defined classes. But it seemed like it was just kind of getting off. And I got a lot out of it. And I remember at the end, you had your laptop open, and a couple guys were just coming to speak with you, and I was able to chat with you, and you shared your USB stick with me with all this information. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh, this guy Mike's a nice guy. He gave me all this information. He's not a real competitor because I don't think we really cross paths from where I am.
Oh, we don't. No. I'll share my information with a competitor. I don't care.
Yeah,
because it really only depends on if they're going to use the information or not, Vic. And they're really not, Vic. It's kind of like, it depends on how serious they are with their business. Some guys are serious, some guys aren't,
Right.
So we meet, I give you this USB drive. What do you do?
Come back with it, I plug it in, and I'm looking at all this stuff. You got, you list them, how you stock a truck, and taking a phone call, the CSRs, how they the script, and what you ask, and how you gather information from the customer, and I'm just, of course, there's so much, you're an overload, right?
You're an overload, yeah. I always tell people, like I say, don't boil the ocean. We're not here to boil the ocean today. Pick a couple things and run with it.
Exactly.
Short term and long term. Take 2 things short term and 2 things long term.
Yep. That's what I did. Slowly. It was painful for me to not be able to grab more out of it and just adapt it. So the thing sits there hanging, right? I see the USB stick hanging on my monitor all the time. I'm like, I'll plug it in, looking, just getting my head right. And it took time because we were growing with all the other aspects of our business, from the hydronic side, because that's a big part of it, and the plumbing, and I'm growing with my team and managing them. So we would just get bits and pieces and start implementing them as we grew the ductless side of the business.
Is the hydronic side of it still a big part of your business today?
It's a substantial part. We're still doing boiler swap outs, wall hung condensing boilers, rated floor heating where there's a demand. We still do that because it's profitable and it works. And I've been doing it since the early 90s, late 80s, Radiant, and we're known for it. So Why
You're
not?
good at it. You know what you're doing. You don't have to venture into a different part. But if you were to look back in like when you first started, not even say like 5 years into it with your dad, hydronics was what percentage of your business was that at that point?
Well, it was most of it. Hydronics and plumbing. It was almost
95, 90,
oh, totally.
95% of your business.
Yeah, and then
If you look at your business today, what is it from a percentage? Like if you bring in your heat pump and Mitsubishi product side of your business and your hydronic side of the business, what is it today? Is it 90% hydronics still?
no, it's definitely changed. It's flipped. I would say right now we're like a good 60% on the ductless.
60%.
About almost 50, 60. Yeah, close to, it was half and half for a while, and it seems like it's starting to tip. We're getting closer.
And were you measuring that throughout the years and kind of looking at the revenue and seeing this shift in this business?
Yes.
What attributed to the shift?
But
How did you get that? How did you get that wave to kind of roll over? What happened there in that journey?
I want to say, the more I went to your events and others in the ductless world and saw the success of other people like you and other contractors, some friends I know up north, they're killing it. And I started to see it was like a light switch. I'm like, there's a lot to be had here. This part of the business.
When we mentioned up north, does that mean
Yeah.
got bought by the same people that bought me?
Yeah, pretty much.
But anyway, so you see these other guys killing it and making the shift.
And I feel
what turns the light switch? Something flipped the switch?
Well, for one, the profitability of ductless installs versus the stuff, all the other stuff I've done. You know what takes more man hours, and there could be more headaches. And honestly, with ductless, I mean, for me, they're the easiest to sell out of everything I sell. And like I said, I do, like I said before, from soup to nuts. I've done a lot, and they're the easiest to sell, promote, and install, and they don't kick back. There's not a lot of issues with.
And I always say this to guys too, Vic. It's like what's the biggest problem we have in our industry today? What is it?
Getting enough people.
Getting people.
Yeah.
And we have contractors doing work that requires very, very talented people for many, many days, and they don't even know if they're making money on it. Some of the guys, it's crazy what I see. But I mean, it's a shift. It's a shift. And when I saw it, I said, my eyes opened up out in California with a husband-wife team, and I'm looking at this saying, I can have one guy do a ductless system in one day, and I can make this much money. Why am I doing this other stuff? I said, I gotta create a good marketing plan based around selling this stuff, and that's how I did it. I just created a good marketing plan on how to attract people. But I want to ask you one question. Is I picked up on, you said it's the easiest thing I have to sell. What makes it easy to sell? Is it that you believe in it, or just what? Tell me a little bit about what makes it easy to sell.
Well, I have them, right? So
you believe.
I believe. I'm passionate.
I had them in my house. I had them in my office. I had them everywhere. So.
Yep, same, right? I'm passionate about it. I trust that it's easy to sell something when you're passionate and you trust it, and you support the manufacturer you're working with. In my case, Mitsubishi supports the heck out of me, and so does my distributor. So I can go in confidently to a client, show them everything there is to know about the product, about the Mitsubishi product, and promote it. And for those folks that are making the jump from fossil fuel over, they're getting 2 for 1. They get rid of the wall bangers and the window shakers. And now we're putting in a nice system that's going to make them more comfortable in their home, decrease their carbon footprint, and save them money on their on operation of heating and cooling their home. So it just all kind of wraps.
Confidence. It's confidence. It's confidence. I had confidence in the product too. don't you just feel real confident when you go into a home and you just look at it, it's just like boom, boom, boom. This is what I can do in your house because you've done so much of it and you know it's going to work and the confidence level is there. And I think it just takes the people away from this DIY thing and everything else. It just takes everything away from it that pulls it together in yourself and your own mind and just lets you just go in and sell it. I mean, do you ever have a lot of problems with the DIY people when you're in homes and stuff like that? I never did. I go to meetings and people are like, how do you combat an online selling thing? I don't think that's a big issue. Do you?
Not against, guys like you and when you had your business or the rest of us that are professional about it. We come in at a whole different angle than the DIY, and the customer sees that in the end. They know they can go online and buy this product for a fraction, and they're going to ask the question, why is your price so much different? But you got to let them know what you're offering them. You got to from the presentation to the manual J-calc, the heat loss design, and all that. Once you show them all that and you bring out all your tools out of the toolbox, by the end they're going to see why there's such a difference between the beat up junk car and then the nice sports car. They're going to see the difference in why they're paying more.
Yeah. If I were to ask you this question, two things. I mean, you've been to a few of my trainings now. You haven't sat in one. I know you've sat in many, and I want to know, like, if you were to take away two highlight topics that you got out of what we did, what would they have been? Something switched, and I want to know what the two things were.
Expanding my presence online, Google presence, everything from keywords like window air conditioner. I have someone writing blogs that helped us get more presence out there organically.
Mm-hmm.
A big one, I'll add the third, is the showroom, which
I saw that online. It looks really nice.
Thanks, and you
see a ribbon cutting coming up.
And I got to thank you for that, Mike. You talked about showrooms in your class, in your Dominate Ductless class, and I've heard this before. Showrooms are, you get a person in that showroom that's on the fence, and you're going to sell the job, and it's happened. I can't believe it. I believe it now.
Like nothing. I'm telling you, train your customer service people. For anyone that is 50-50 to come to you versus you going to them. It's so much easier when you bring them to you, to your facility. They have a comfort factor, and we would do that all the time. Customer service people, if anybody was to the point where they didn't feel fully comfortable with having you come into the home at that point, why don't you just come to our facility and I can show you everything here, and you're going to be able to see how things run, work, feel, touch, see. And we can educate you because, your showroom is not really to show people. It's to educate people,
mm-hmm.
Educate them. And when I always say that education is knowledge is so powerful. And I think that's what makes it easy for guys like you and I to sell this product because we're so knowledgeable about it. And I think people can pick up on that too when they're in homes. When you're in a home, people pick up on your knowledge, appearance, how you look, how you speak, being able to have the right tools in your toolbox. But I'm telling you, we talked about it. We talked about I know we've been emailing back and forth a little bit about presentations and how to educate people in your area. Don't sell them, educate them. Educate them first and then sell them.
You're right,
it's
Mike.
Easy.
You're right.
It's educate and then sell.
People want to be informed.
It's so easy to sell after they're educated.
For sure. And people want to be informed and they want you to listen to them. And that's what I find when I go into a home. And now my daughter, N.E.T.R, who's been in your class, she's been out selling on her own. She's gone on 3 now by herself.
Unbelievable. I'm so glad to hear that.
And you know what, Mike?
Her confidence level was a little low, but I told her, keep your head down.
She just did her 3rd one. And the first one she went on, she had a 5-star review within hours of getting them the estimate. She didn't secure it at that moment.
How proud does that make you feel?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. 5-star. I never got a 5-star review just for showing up and doing a presentation. Maybe after the job was done, we got the review, of course, but she got one. That was a first.
I'm telling you.
She did a great job.
Was she with the woman in the home?
No, the gentleman. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and the gentleman was extremely impressed with her knowledge and how she presented it. So I love it, and
That's oh, I'm so glad to hear that.
it's fun.
I'm so glad to hear
I
that.
told her I was going to tell you too.
Oh, I don't know if I'm friends with her on Facebook or not, but I see her on your page. I think I'm friends with her on LinkedIn. I have to tell her I'm so proud of her. That's awesome.
Thank you. And what I taught her, and she's very good at this. I think maybe women in general are better than us men, is listen, right? Listen to the customer. And customers want to be informed, but they want you to hear. What I've learned is they want to be heard. And I can't tell you how many times I've gone into a house and the person before me, the customer tells me this. They said, I appreciate you listening. You heard me out. You listened to what my needs are. And that's all I did.